Hello students, hope so. You are all doing well. And today we are going to have the third part of our online or offline teaching of the lesson titled as the last lesson. So I would like to extend a hearty welcome to all of you. So, as we already began the main textbook, that is a Flamingo, an English core subject of a class 12th, and this particular online and offline class is going to be conducted by myself, that is Rakesh Nadakarni PGT English, Jawaharlal Vidyalaya, Shankar Nagar. So, the title of the lesson, as we have already done two video on this particular lesson, and today we are at the third part of this particular lesson titled as the last lesson. And this particular scientific fiction was written by Alfonso Daudet, a French novelist, and you are all acquainted with the information about that great French writer. And even this is what the skeleton structure of our presentation. So in this, almost we are at the 8th point. We are discussing a detailed study of the story, that too taking lesson in detail. And we are up to yesterday, we have seen some part of it, and let me continue the next part of that one. So, as the detailed plan of structure of the study of this particular lesson, that is, first one, the little French was late to a school. Second bullet point, that is town hall bulletin board. M. Hamel's little garden, which is called as a school. M. Hamel's in a special dress. Strange and solemn class. The order of Berlin. The last French lesson, and at last, Viva la France. So, out of these points, yesterday we have discussed up to the arrival of little French towards M. Hamel's little garden, that is the school. Let me continue from that particular point onwards. So, first of all, we will see the vocabulary. As far as vocabulary part of this today's class is concerned, these are the new words which we are going to come across, and let me give you meaning of all those new words. The first one, that is a primer, a basic reader of any language. Thumbed, that means the torn, damaged at the edge. Cranky, a very strange or short-tempered. Sunday clothes, that means wearing a special dress, especially on the special occasion. Dreadful, that is a frightening. And the word coot, that is the sound made by the pigeon. So these words are going to help us to understand this lesson. Apart from that, even we have other words such as a half-wing, means the creeper. Twined, that is the twisted. Pale, you might have come across the pale color, which is used to describe a person's face or skin, and if he or she has a less color than as usual, and that indicates the uneasiness or the sickness of a particular person. So all these factors are going to help us in these new words as well as the phrases going to be a handy in order to infer, in order to comprehend the remaining part of the story. So, as far as story is concerned, yesterday we have reached the part of the story up to the little French arrival to the little school. And as you all know, the French is very much afraid to go to the school as he was not at all well prepared about the participle because the teacher may going to ask him a question, and that's why he want to enjoy himself amidst of the beauty of the nature. And even he had come across a Persian soldier drilling also, so all these things tempted him, but somehow he controlled himself and decided to go. And while he was going, he passed to the town hall where a lot of crowd was gathered over there. And while going, usually every day he used to be in the habit of getting a lot of commotion, the noise, but on that day it was a very unusual silence. And instead of a noisy classroom, everything was very much quiet as Sunday morning. And the teacher, who was eagerly awaiting for the arrival of French, and French is going to get an entry into the classroom. So, from that particular point, let me continue this one. And while continuing this one, the little French, he thought that he will get an entry into the classroom without the notice of anybody else but the teacher, or even all the other classmates were also sitting quiet, so silent. So that's why the question of entering into the classroom without the notice of anybody doesn't arise over there. And as soon as the French saw that already his classmates occupied the seats, and he too also enters over there in the classroom. And he thought that the teacher will scold him for late arrival, but it was not happened like that whatever he thought. And as he glanced towards the teacher was looking somewhat different on that day because he was wearing a special kind of a dress, and usually that dress M. Hamel used to wear on a special occasion. And when the French glanced at him, the teacher was wearing a very beautiful green coat. He had a frilled shirt, and apart from that, black silk cap, and all these things are all embroidered. And in this way, the teacher was looking somewhat different on that day, and especially this kind of dress, the teacher or the attire he used to wear only on the day of inspection or even on the day of annual prize distribution ceremony. But as far as knowledge goes, that day is not at all a day of inspection, or even the day, it may not be even the day of annual prize distribution. And that's why the boy, little French, was noticed somehow the teacher was in a different kind of dress which he was wearing. And certainly, after that unusual, strange, solemn class was totally becoming a dull, and the boy, French, gleams towards the back of the class. And usually, at every day at the back of the class, the benches were empty. But on that day, all the back benches were filled with the villagers. The old Hauser was there, the former mayor was there, the former postmaster was also attending the class, and apart from that, even lot of several other elders of the village, all of them gathered over there, and that's why the whole class was power packed, and everybody was feeling and a very strange, a very serious class was going on, and now it is about to begin, and the teacher just stood up, and he may going to address the students in his own way. And certainly, M. Hamel have decided to announce something, and that announcement is none other than the Berlin Order. And French starts reading that order as, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has came from Berlin to teach only a German in the school of Alaska in Loreno. The new master comes tomorrow, and this is your last French lesson. So I want you to be very attentive." So these particular words, when the Hamel had uttered, certainly all of them, even the little boy called a French, was very much thunderclapped and very much surprised, and certainly he remembered that this might be the things which are displayed on the notice board which he had come across at the town hall. And as the teacher was announcing that one, and that particular announcement made that boy to feel or to realize that that was what the news was put up on a bulletin board. And the little boy, Franz, realizes now that he does not know much more about his own mother tongue. And that is what the self realization, the boy, he may going to feel it. And in this kind of a very sad note of condition, the M. Hamel, the teacher, who put up 40 selfless service of his life, began his last French lesson. And as Hamel realizes that the people whomsoever assembled, everybody was feeling that one, and as they are feeling kind of a remorseful, and certainly the boy Franz also got regret, and he realized his own mistakes. And when he realized his own mistake, he starts feeling very upset. And as he was thinking, he thought and he felt very sorry for not learning his own mother tongue, that is a French. And that's why now no more chance for him to learn the French. He barely knows how to write a French. Being a Frenchman, he barely knows because he never made any serious attempt to learn the French language. And even his feelings about his French teacher, M. Hamel, was also changed all of sudden, and he even decided to pay the attention to the class, to his good luck or bad luck. Now, the class itself or the period itself is the last period which the French, a little boy, was attending, and that's why this self realization makes him to feel at that moment, and because of that, the atmosphere of the classroom was very much serious, and even as the boy felt it and realized his own follies, and now he thought of taking up his own learning transaction in a serious manner, but on the very next day onwards, he may not going to get a chance, and that's why those shocking words made a lot of difference in the mindset of the boy called Little French. And at that moment, French also, not only a French, even the teacher, okay, the French who feels the school was a very boredom one, he feels it's a very important now. And as soon as the boy was thinking very seriously, the teacher M. Hamel calls the French to recite the rule of a participle, and he was very much afraid because he don't know even anything about the participle, but the teacher was asked him to stand up and to say the rules of a participle, and this boy was unable to say anything. He may not answer because he had not took the study properly, and that's why he stood up, but he stumbles, and when he got stumbles, he felt very much ashamed of himself. And when he felt very much ashamed of himself, this boy felt very remorse, and he thought that the teacher may going to scold. But on that day, the teacher M. Hamel may not going to scold the French, and that was a change which he had noticed. Here, not only the French realize his own follies, even the teacher A.M. Hamel, who to also realize his own mistakes, and he said that, okay, he said each and every day, you being the students are keep on putting off learning until tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. And this is what the trouble with the people of a region of Alaska. And this is how the Persian occupies have the right to say them. And you pretend, he said, you pretend to be a Frenchman, and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language. And by saying that, M. Hamel continues by saying the children's, the parents, and he himself is a part for their mistake. And that's why